On Shabbat, Hamas invaded Israel, deciding to go recklessly to music concerts, to homes, to kibbutzes, and taking 200 plus hostages. They knew what they were doing. In one of the most cloistered urban environments on the planet, 2 million people live in a place where it's impossible to wage war. Impossible. Where they wear civilian clothing, they violate every tenet of the Geneva Convention, and the IDF, when they do something right, they get no credit. When they do life-saving surgeries of a Gazan child, they get no credit. When they drop leaflets, they get no credit. But when they happen to bomb a place where they are operating their military...
Guys, the IDF's not getting enough credit. People are getting mad at them because they're doing a genocide, but nobody ever talks about what the good things that the IDF is doing. That's what makes Charlie Kirk mad today. He didn't know what to do. Charlie Kirk had no clue what to do with this guy saying Hamas and Israel are both evil, and he's like, I'm just gonna say it anyways. I'm just gonna pretend that that's the conversation we're having.
From which we now know from third-party verified sources, hundreds of Hamas military operations are in mosques, schools, and hospitals. I'm sorry, the country where they were living in relative peace on October 6th, that all of a sudden we had a war, and Hamas started the war. And I don't see people that were really upset about the 2 million Germans that were killed in World War II, civilians. A tragic truth of war is that civilians die.
All right. Well, now let's compare, Charlie. If we're doing apples to apples here, who killed the Germans? Was it the people who were having a genocide committed on them? Was it the Jewish folks? Maybe the reason nobody talks about the Germans, and maybe the reason nobody talks about the IDF and looks at the Germans and the IDF as victims. He just said it. They don't get any credit for the good things that they do. How come nobody talked about how the Germans were out working at food banks? How come nobody ever talks about that? Because they're the bad guys, Charlie. Because they're doing the genocide, Charlie. So people don't really feel bad for the people doing the genocide, Charlie. Charlie got so distracted in his argument that now he's arguing that the IDF and the Germans are the same. Why didn't anybody talk about the Germans? Because they were the ones that were doing the genocide. Why doesn't anybody talk about the IDF? Because they're the ones doing the genocide. He answered his own question, and there's still Republicans in here like he's killing this debate. He's debating himself now. He just walked himself into a position where the IDF and the Germans are the same. Not great.